undulations. Oh, I am beyond excited about this choreography because I am just in love with it. Absolutely in love with it. And I'm looking forward to sharing very specific, finite details with you so that way you can really play with the different undulations, the reversals, and speed changes, along with some fancy little bits of heel work thrown in there. Now, with that said, if anything is not feeling intuitive or comfortable for you and your body, by all means, please modify this choreo and make it more of a sequence where it's just an outline and you're filling it in, okay? Because you know, our bodies are different and our style preferences may be different. So I'll give a couple variation options here and there, but for the most part, this is going to be very specific and it will be up to you to kind of cater it to your liking if you wish to deviate, okay? For starters, let's figure out what side of the pole we are on. So our ending shape is the handstand split, you know, this little number, yep, okay. So for me, I like to do that shape with my left side facing the point of view. Okay, so with that said, all I'm gonna do is take a step towards the back of the room, get behind my pole, and then do a little turn to face forward. Okay, so now I have my opposite side of my body facing the point of view compared to the side of my body that's gonna be my ending shape. Okay, so make that note, and then let's go ahead and get into position. You should either be on the back side of the pole, either facing this direction or this direction, based on those notes, okay? So first, we want our inside leg to be in a slight diagonal in front of the pole, and our inside hand is nice and high. Okay, for me, a little style detail, because I love all the details, we're gonna do a little bit of a finger flare per se. So you can have your non-pole hand on your chest or maybe on your hip, or maybe you feel like doing a little finger flare out here. Either way, once we hear the initial beat, bow, we begin to walk forward, opening up through the chest and the shoulder and taking a tiny step with our foot, okay? So we hear our beat, we step, and step. That next step will be on beat, and while you are stepping, one more time, right, we are flaring our fingers. Perfect. So once we have landed that front foot on beat, we place all of our weight on it, and we have to shift our weight towards the point of view so that way we can let our weight off of our back foot, bringing it into a bend. And as we kick it forward to hit the next beat, we lean back onto the pole and we guide our non-pole hand behind our back, slightly bent. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a perspective shift. So if you were behind me, this is what you would see. I just stepped through and I'm placing my hand on the pole, and it is slightly bent so that way I can push up into it as I pull into my top hand, okay? So what we're doing from there, hi. We are going to sweep our outside leg, the leg closest to the point of view, backwards. At that same time, we're lifting the new front leg to split our legs, okay? Woo. So once we get to the top of that split, we're gonna bend into both of our knees on beat and then extend again to plant the leg that will be in front of us, sweeping the other leg up. Let's see what that looks like, and then we can do it together. So I just extended that leg, placed my hand behind me. I'm pushing into the bottom hand, pulling into the top hand, and I split the legs, dragging that top leg back, and then I bend on beat and then plant my front leg, sweeping that back leg forward, okay? Keep in mind where you plant this leg that's closest to the pole. You don't want it directly underneath of you, because when we get into our next shape, you're not gonna have room to extend. So when you plant it, essentially try and drop it furthest away from you without moving your body away from the pole, and then you can sweep up. Let's see that point from the beginning. Okay, so we have our foot diagonally in front of the pole, hand is high. We wait for that beat. You can even do a tiny little step just to emphasize your beat cue. And then we flare our fingers, stepping in front of our foot. And we're leaning on the pole to extend this front leg, placing our hands, pushing and pulling as that front leg sweeps back, both legs split and then bend, planting that front foot. And as that back foot begins to sweep down, we are supporting on the back of our glute here. We then allow our torso to shift away from the point of view, pushing into the pole as we slide those hands down, and we'll feel the back of our lower back caressing the pole. At that same time, you're lifting this leg up and then angling it backwards, okay? Wow, it's intense to hold that position. Okay, so key, right? If we were to just lift our leg up straight without angling it towards the back of the room, our lines aren't going to seem as elongated. It'll look like you're stopping here before you go into your windmill, exhibit A. Okay, so from here, this is me not pointing my leg to the back of the room. I get here and then I begin to do my windmill. Ooh, it was cute, but watch these lines here. Okay, I'm bringing it up, and then I angle it to the back of the room, engaging the glutes, and then I bend for that windmill. Okay, so be mindful to really, shift that torso downward as possible, and then kick that leg towards the back of the room, engaging through your outside glute. Okay, let's go ahead from there. So we get into our split grip position. We are lifting the legs and then bending, planting the front leg, bringing it down across our back, lifting up, angling that leg back with our glute, and then we begin to bend. At that time, we're pulling up, lifting our torso, grabbing the pole with our outside hand, and lifting our chest up, lifting our chin up so that way our chin is tucked. And then we're slowly elongating through the chest and through the arms as we open up that leg for a beat cue. And then we stand up. When we stand up, we are allowing that top hand to slide up. And this top leg goes down with a straight leg. Let's go ahead and see it from the top. Ooh. So, getting in our starting position. Hand is high. We have a finger flare moment. 2 walk in front. Our inside leg now extends forward as we grab the pole behind us. We then split both of our legs and then bend, planting that front leg, sliding down the pole, back across the pole, angling that leg to the back of the room, windmilling to grab. We extend and lift. From here, we're gonna hold on for dear life because our legs are gonna go for a little ride. So this leg that's closest to the point of view, this is the leg that hasn't touched the ground yet. That leg is going to stay straight. This leg that we have all of our weight on, that's furthest from the point of view, that leg is going to bend. we are going to allow our torso to stay low to the ground. So we're holding on, but we're not pulling up. And this straight leg has to go in a circle. So we bring the straight leg under the bent leg, like so. We lift up, straight leg goes under, and we go up. Here's a specific for you, okay? So we're going to have to drag this bent leg underneath of us. So it essentially locks in place. Like our heel is locked underneath of our hip, and we're carrying that leg back with us as this one circles around. Watch closely for me. So again, I'm holding on for dear life. Okay, I'm traveling this grounded leg underneath of me as I drag this one in a circle. Okay, it also helps to lower into your arms a little bit. I really noticed it on that last one. Okay, so from here, you know, we just came out of this position. We lift up to grip, and then we slide it around. Leg goes underneath of us. Straight leg starts to come forward slowly as we stand onto our grounded leg. And then as it comes up, we can bend into it and lift through the chest. Okay, let's see that a little faster. So from this beautiful bendy position, we come up, we swing it around, we slowly extend the standing leg and slowly bend into the lifted leg. Okay, let's go ahead and see all of that from the top. Okay, so standing behind the pole, inside leg in front, diagonal, inside hand nice and high. Finger flare as you step in front, placing the back on the pole, extending as you place your hand. Bring that straight leg back, open, then bend, and plant that foot. Slide it on down, angle that leg towards the back of the room to windmill. Grabbing the pole, chin is in the chest, and then we extend, grip to move that leg around, slowly straighten and bend, okay? So, moving on. We're gonna ditch that section for a while. So if you need to, replay it, revisit it, and when you're ready to move on, press play again. Okay, so we just brought that leg around pretty quick, right? That circular leg movement to here is a quick one, okay? And then, but once we plant our foot and our leg is back here, we're slowly dragging that. And it helps to have that foot going away from the pole in a circular motion. So that way it doesn't run into the floor and you can keep it as low to the ground as possible. So it really looks like it's gliding rather than just moving through the air, okay? So we got here really quickly, bow. And we're slowly bringing that leg up, extending our standing leg and clicking that knee, lifting our chin for that point here. Now we are going to bring that straight leg down. Flex the foot when it goes behind and really give it a flex. And then we drag that heel, or we should push it forward to plant it kind of in a curtsy. So you're bending your standing knee, flexing that foot to place it behind, and then you stand up to place the flat of the heel. Okay, the arm that is closest to the point of view should wrist roll to the back of the wrist, and the hand furthest from the point of view, this lower hand is going to roll upwards, so the fingers are going towards the ceiling, coming towards you. And then that hand is going down. You shift your weight onto your toe boxes. And you push through this hand that's on the pole until you can grab facing the pole again. Now our feet are barely twisted, right? So that front foot That foot that we've been moving the whole time should then flex, boom, to come backwards. Okay, this is where, let's talk about beat cues real quick. So the first beat cue in the second section, right? When you come into this position, you should land on beat here, and then you're slowly extending to land on beat here. Quickly bring that leg down, flex that foot to land on beat here. And then we shift our hands so that way the hand closest to the point of view comes on top with that wrist roll. Bottom hand, fingers glide down. And then we should be done with our pirouette on beat. That's when we drag that foot here. This may or may not land on a beat, depends on how fast you're dancing, but it can land on a beat. And then we're dragging with a rounded back, really pushing through the ankle of this standing foot so that way you don't have two flexed feet. Instead, you have one flexed foot. Okay, I really like to push against the pole with this bottom hand at this point, so that way I can really feel into the resistance I am creating. So as I come forward with that rounded back, I then step and point that moving foot and thrust my hips forward, opening through the chest so I can grab the bottom hand on top. Let's see that one more time, that little mini section before moving on. Okay, so getting into our leg wave position, we land on beat, bring it up nice and slowly to land on beat, bring it down pretty quickly to land on beat, switch those hands, turn through our pirouette to land on beat, and then we flex, bringing that foot behind us, potentially landing on beat, and then pushing it forward, pushing to land on beat, and then drawing it up as slowly as you can, grabbing the pole on beat. And now we're gonna do a little twisty motion. So your hands are facing you, your palms are facing you. You should be gripping the pole and twisting the pole so that way your torso can guide itself towards the front leg, and that leg then scoots over to match the other leg. From here, we are dropping into our shoulders, rounding our back, and pushing our hips up, keeping our chin tucked to our chest. And then we extend, and on beat, we hug the pole. Let's go ahead and see that from this position here. We're gonna lift our legs up, beat cue, bringing that foot behind on the beat, swapping the hands for your pirouette, ending on the beat, bringing that leg back and stepping it forward on the beat, pushing those hips forward, really drawing this out, grabbing the hand on beat, and then twisting to land on beat. And then we sink it down to raise it on up, pushing the hips up, extending and hugging on beat, and then beginning your descent into this sit. There we go. Now, from here, we really gotta hug the pole. We really gotta squeeze for dear life, okay? Because we are going to bring our knees into a bend, bring our feet under. At this point, we scoot the feet back and stand up through the legs, taking our hips away from the pole. And then we're gonna do a reverse body wave, okay? So we tuck the hips toward our face, engaging the core, beginning to tuck our chin towards our chest, lifting up through the glutes, through the torso, to send those hips forward. And as those hips go forward, your legs stay straight. Those hips continue to go forward, but then they stop and begin to arch through the back, through the body, guiding the chest down and allowing the hands to draw down with you as you take your gaze to the point of view. Okay, speed. When we get to this position here, right, we got in here fast and then we slow it down. Raise it on up with that real deep undulation. Bring it in quickly, sit it down, slow. Bending the knees, lifting the heels, then scooting them back. Pretty slow, and then quickly draw your chest down and then up, and then slowly open that chest to come down again, gliding through the hands. Let's go ahead and take it from the top. Okay, we've covered a lot. We're working through it pretty quickly, so I'm impressed with you. You should be impressed with yourself too. Let's keep it moving. So from the top, getting in our ready position, we have our inside leg closest to the point of view, slightly diagonal in front. Same hand on top. Okay. We then flail our fingers as we guide our back leg forward, resting our shoulder on the pole. Our new back leg then bends up and extends as we place our hand behind our back. We then bring that front leg back, lifting with a push and pull, splitting our legs, and then bending them upwards, planting that front foot down. Swinging that back foot forward, we caress our back against the pole, sliding down, angling that leg behind us to bend as we lift to grab the pole, chin to chest. We then begin extending through our chest and through our leg to land on beat. We lift up, and at that same time, we sweep it around to land on beat and slowly extend the leg, bringing the front leg up to land on beat. Then we go ahead and quickly put the flex foot behind in a curtsy, so it's going away from the point of view. And then we swap our hands, wrist roll pirouette. Onto the toe boxes. We pivot, 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 pushing into the pole hand. And we face front, grabbing the pole on beat. And then we flex, bringing that foot behind us, potentially landing on beat depending on how fast you're going here. And then we slide it forward, rounded back, point the foot on beat, and thrust the hips forward, extending through the chest and head. Slowly grab the pole on beat, and then go ahead and twist it down pretty quickly. Sinking it down, extending through the shoulders before we extend upward, extending through the head, the chest, and then we hug on beat to sit down. And we hug the pole to bring our feet underneath of us and then push them back, spreading into a straddle, allowing our chest to come down and then rounding up through the back, then slowly bringing ourselves back into an arch. Okay, this is where it gets real, because when we go into our handstand, preferably you're going to take the hand closest to the point of view and give it a little twisted grip, and then find your other hand on the ground and push the back of your neck, back of your shoulders onto the pole. Now, notice how my feet are really, really far from the pole, so I have to do one of two things. First, it might give you a little extra grip power if you take that elbow and you internally rotate it. So you should see your shoulder going inward, and it flares your elbow enough to where you can grip it behind the pole. Okay, that can potentially help you. Another thing is you have to draw your feet in and then go up, like so. Okay, doing an out breath will help you. Okay, it allows you to tap into more of your core power and just relieve the tension of that position, okay? So that is harder than a normal press because, again, first you have to engage your core to essentially bring your feet a little closer, but not a step closer. You're bringing it closer as you lift into your handstand, okay? If you're trying the straddle press and it's not working, we're gonna do a one-legged kick up. So that way we can utilize as minimal movements as possible, okay? So from our seated position, okay, we bring it back. Let's do our wave to keep it familiar. And then we're slowly lowering down. We bring that POV hand up to a twisted grip, the other hand low, bringing our neck to the pole. Go ahead and bring your leg furthest from the point of view, behind, bend. Step it as close to you as possible, and then lift your back leg as you extend your front bent leg and lift up, bend the back leg, and begin walking, okay? Now, if you're doing the straddle method, because our legs are coming up at the same time, it helps to bring them up to a close on beat, and then begin to walk, okay? If you're doing the one leg at a time method, just be aware that whatever leg comes up first, both legs are straight, but that leg that comes up first is gonna go to its farthest point, and then it's gonna bend so you can start walking. Let's look at both of those variations. So for the straddle, again, we're pulling it in and up, and then clap, and then begin to walk. And for the step up, we bring that far leg behind, bend it upward to step it in. We extend that leg as our straight leg goes up, and we kick up, bending the back leg to begin our walk. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the split. Okay, so we saw this split in the handstand split tutorial. Okay, so we're going to use the fancier version of it where we go into the fang after to make for our descent. Okay, so I'm going to cue in the reversal, cue in the fang, and then also that split drop, just in case you need a little bit of a refresher. But by all means, if you found a different style of doing this, please incorporate it so this combo, the sequence, can be most curated towards you. So picking your specific entry, we will get into our handstand and begin walking. And we're gonna make note of the leg that's furthest from the point of view and stop it. Both legs are straight. We then bend that leg furthest from the point of view, planting our foot on the pole, sliding it up, bending the leg closest to the point of view to grab the heel and split. Hand goes to the ground, leg goes up. We then fang, lifting through the head, bending through the hips and the back. We then push tall through the shoulders and bring our legs down to split. Leg goes back. Glue the chest to the ground and push the chest away, bringing those knees into a bend, hips into the air. Whew. I'm not gonna lie, that's intense to do and talk through at the same time. Whew. So, feel free to remind that if you need a refresher on the cues or specifics. And then also feel free to just rewind that for yourself in terms of repeating it to get it more comfortable, more intuitive in your body. Let's go ahead and start it from the top because we've worked through a lot and we're done. So let's wrap it on up, seal the deal with a full flow, okay? We're standing behind the pole, inside foot that's closest to the point of view, front diagonal. same hand is on the pole. We get ready for our finger flare as we walk that back foot forward, planting our shoulder on the pole, lifting our new back foot, our new back leg into a bend. We extend that leg as we grab the pole behind us. That leg sweeps back. With two straight legs, we split and then bend, planting the front foot, gliding that back leg down and up as we lower and glide onto the pole. We point that leg behind us and then bend, lifting up as that foot comes in. We then extend through the leg, arms and torso on beat, and then we lift up real quick to swing that leg around, landing on beat. Extend slowly as you lift and bend. And then we bring that leg behind us pretty quickly with a flexed foot, and then we swap hand placements. And we push through our wrist roll pirouette, and we re-grip on beat. We then flex to bring that foot behind us, and then push it forward, lifting, pointing both feet, thrusting through the hips, pushing away from the pole to create some tension, to slow this extension down, and then we bring it up and quickly twist, planting the gliding foot, extending through the shoulders, rounding up to push into this reverse body wave, and then we hug the pole on beat, hug to lower those feet to the ground behind you, pushing away, allowing the hips to travel backwards, and then rounding to come up pretty quickly, and then slowly lowering down, letting those hands slide, taking your gaze to the point of view, and then that POV hand goes to the top. The other hand goes to the bottom as you lean the back of your neck on the pole, placing your hand on the ground, choosing your entry to your handstand, walking. The far leg stops, both legs are split, and then it reverses, placing that foot on the pole, grabbing your free foot and extending on beat. And we place the hands. We fang, we push tall, and we split. Clack, drop the chest, and push it back. There you have it. We're done. So go ahead, stretch, or practice this a few more times and then stretch, okay? Make sure to stretch out your wrist, roll out your wrist, and also tend to your legs and your arms. These key components were doing so much for us today in this sequence. Furthermore, when you are practicing this and wanting to, take a video for your own sake or to share it, please be mindful that you must work through it slowly, without music, and then as you start to feel comfortable with each element, each component, then you can pick up the pace. Once you're comfortable with picking up the pace, then add some music. You can dance to this song, or you can choose literally any song. And just keep in mind those points of expansion or those points of contraction, right? Those are your beat cues. And you can anticipate listening for when that beat is coming, preparing it, drawing it back, and then once that beat comes in, hit and release. Or if you're going for an extension, you're anticipating, you're slowly extending, and once that beat comes, you hit and pull back. Okay? So allow the music to be your guide after you have practiced this plenty of times. Tune into those different speed changes, tune into those undulations, and most importantly, have fun, right? It is a process. I did this for 2 hours today just to, prepare that initial, example video for you. Because to really flow with something, one, you got to be familiar with the movement. 2, your body has to be warmed up. And 3, you have to really walk yourself into being in the flow. It's not just something you can just like, oh, let's get it on the first round. Okay, so, and I say this expressively just to give you a peace of mind, to be gentle and patient with yourself, and to do the work that it takes to get to the ultimate goal you want. If you want that smooth, luxurious flow, you have to work for it. You have to fine tune it, right? And it's going to look differently on each person's body. So keep that in mind and fine tune this movement, this pathway to that which feels good to you. All right. And on that note, zipping my lips, go ahead, have fun practicing, and I'll see you again.